Okay guys, so today we are going to be learning how to cut a circle. We don't call it a circle, we call it a flare. Okay, so it's from flare that you cut out peplum and use it to craft or draft or use it to form a lot of styles when we are sewing. So if you are new in this channel, do well to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification button. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you once again for staying around. I just believe that we are all learning from this channel. Okay, so let's get to the business of the day. Um, when we are talking about flare, and you know, I'm sorry you're going to pardon me because we're going to be doing a lot of calculation on this particular class today. So when you are talking about flare, you shall know that we have different types of flare. You have 360. Okay, we have 360 degree and we have 270 degree and also have 190, 180 degree, sorry, and we have 90 degree. So I'm going to draw a chart to demonstrate what I just said now. Okay, so this is like a chart. Inside the chart we're going to have a circle. Okay, so I'm going to divide this circle into 4 equal parts. So everything in this circle now is 360 degree. 360 degree, okay? Everything here is 360 degree. So when I divided into 4, that means it's 4 over 4, which is equals to 1. Okay? Then if I remove one of this, I'll have my 270. Okay? So everything here becomes my 270, making it, that is, I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I'm having only 2, 3, and 4, I'm going to be having 270 degree, which is the same thing as 3 over 4. Okay, so if I'm having, assuming I strike this one out, I'm having 3 and 4. Now that is to say that I am having 180 degree, which is the same thing as 2 over 4. Okay, so when I'm having just this one, that is 4, which is the same thing as 90 degrees, which is the same thing as 1 over 4. Remember, I divided the chart by 4. Okay, I know what to cut and when to cut whichever I want to do. Already you know that this is a full flare. It's too full. Maybe after sewing, the customer will tell you it's too full. It's too big. You don't know I have body. Maybe you can consider using this 270 and 160. But also take note that most times the choices of flare you are taking might depend on the person you are sewing for and the fabric given to you. If the fabric is small, this is going to take a larger radius. Okay, so I'm coming to radius. So now radius of a circle. Remember that what we use to get the waistline, if you are using it to make either peplum or gown, is basically the radius of the circle. Okay, remember that back then in school they told us that the circumference of a circle is equals to 2 pi? Yes, 2 pi r. Did you remember that one? Yes, I remembered. They told us that circumference of a circle. How do you get the circumference of a circle? Which is C is equals to 2 pi r. And remember that our pi is equals to 3.14. You can add 2, but the 2 I don't think is necessary since it's not up to 5 inches. Did you still remember that one? Still okay, let's still hold that one. So the next thing we are going to do is that at every particular point in time that you are given a circumference, remember that in this case, the circumference we are referring to is the waistline. If it's round sleeve we are cutting, is a round sleeve. That doesn't mean we want to attach flare to the round sleeve. It's a round sleeve where the sleeve is going to start from. If it's on the waistline, is a waistline. If anywhere you are attaching the sleeve is going to be, that place is going to be the circumference. Now, how do you get the radius of what you are going to use to cut it? Remember that when you are talking about radius, after folding your flare, just like a point here, that place that you cut out. But some people usually ask, of course, everybody that is learning how to sew, very inquisitive about how do I get this thing so that and anytime I finish sewing, if I just carry the flare and put on the cloth, it will just align. I won't need to readjust. It won't be excess. It won't be small. So what do I do? The best thing to do is to follow this format, as in this formula, and use it for your calculation. All right. So now, assuming I'm sewing for a person, I am given a circumference of 36. So what do I do to get the radius? Before we proceed any further, I'm sorry, like I said, that we're going to do calculation. So what we are going to do now is, since we are given C is equals to 2 pi r, and our pi is given, we know C, we know pi, we already have 2, and we don't know r. So what we are going to do to make this r the subject of the formula, we divide by 2 pi r. Sorry, no r here, please. Divide this by 2 pi. Okay? So at the end of the day, this 2 pi cancel this 2 pi. And that makes our r. Our r becomes C over 2 pi. Okay? So anytime we are given, please take note of this. That is what you will use. Even if you're not interested in all this drama that I'm saying here now. Please just take note of this one now. That your r is giving us C over 2 pi. So what do we do since we are giving our circumference to be 36 for a full flare? We are going to have our r is equals to 36 divided by 2 in bracket 3.14. Remember that our pi is 3.14, right? So at the end of the day, it's very easy. Just see it as something you can do. You have 36 over. Remember that this times this will give us 6. This times this will give us 2. And this times this is going to give us 8. So we're going to divide. We're going to divide 36. Sorry, 6.28. 5.7. You can approximate to 6 inches as your radius. What it means is that if I am given this thing now and they ask me to get the radius of the circumference of 36, so I'm just going to use my tape after folding, because it's a full flare that we are cutting. After folding this way, we're going to watch what I'm doing. So that means the distance I'm going to have from here to here is going to be 6. So I'm just going to measure 6 here, 6 here, 6 here, and I'm going to connect it. So when I open it, I'm just going to have exactly my 36. Remember that this is not the actual 6 I'm supposed to measure. I'm just using this thing to give us an illustration, right? So this is just, by the time I open it and measure this circumference inside, assuming I use the actual figure, I'm just going to have 36 at the end of the day. So let's check the second one, which is 270 degrees. Okay, let's check for 270 degrees. So what do we do? Remember that 270 from our diagram is 3/4. Okay, so the next thing to do is to, since our C is giving us, since our R is giving us 2C divided by 2 pi. So what do? We want the radius to be C divided by 2 pi, but we are doing it in terms of 3/5. We don't want a full flare. So what do? It's going to be 3/4. That means that, this is like writing C/2 pi divided by 3/4. At the end of the day, we have C/2 pi times, if you are changing this sign here, you are changing 1, you are going to turn 1, so that means 4/3. Okay, so at the end of the day, you substitute the values on this formula that we have gotten now. I'm sorry I said we are going to be solving maths today. So R at 270 degrees is equals to C, which is, we are doing 36/2 pi. Remember our pi is 3.14 in bracket times by 4/3. Okay, then what it means is that we're going to have 36/6.28 times by 4/3. Okay, we're going to substitute this value now. You multiply out this thing to know what your radius becomes. Okay, so I'm trying to say that everything here, the 2 pi is constant, the 4/3 is constant. So what you are going to be changing, instead of doing all this long process math I'm going to solve, I'm going to simplify it now. You can just copy out the formula. I have already done the one of 270, so if you are doing the one of 180, it's going to be the same thing. If you are doing the one of 90 degrees, it's going to be the same thing. But I have to tell you that most times we usually use 360 and 180 most times. But some cases you can still try out your 270. But I'm going to now give you just a format instead of you solving. Before I give you the standard measurements, I want you to subscribe to the channel. If you have not done that, click on the notification button and share to your friends, those ones that are telling you I want to learn, just I don't know where to start. Please kindly share this channel to them, because I believe that everything we have been something that will help them. I'm just going to break it down. So for 360 degrees, you have R is equals to C/2 pi. Okay, you can just copy it out. Then that's one. Number two, for 270 degrees, what it means that your R is equals to C/2 pi times by 4/3. Copy it out, okay? Then for 180 degrees, what it means is that R is equals to C/2 pi times by, remember that one is 2/4. So if you are doing 2/4, you're now going to have 4/2, right? Okay. Then for 90 degrees, what it means that your R is equals to C/2 pi times by 4/1, which is the same thing as 4, right? This one is the same thing as 2, because 4 divided by 2 is the same thing as 2. Okay, so what this means is that once you are able to calculate this radius, you will know what to cut out. That thing that you cut out to have your flare, you will now know what to cut out and have your flare. That's what all this calculation is. And based on this chart that I've given to you, the only thing that varies on this chart then is the C, because your waistline is not the same thing as my own waistline, and your hip line is not the same thing as another person's hip line, right? The same thing as armhole or anywhere you are attaching the flare. And there's one other thing I want to quickly note. You know, some flare that you want it to be full and short at the same time, and those flare that looks like it's kind of clone. If you want to calculate something like that, most times you use, it's not even most times, you use 360 degrees to calculate it. It's full flare that you use for those things. But how do you do it that makes it spread like that and form those pieces that you used to form? What do you do? What to do is that before you cut those kind of flare, you check how many flares you're going to combine, so many flares together to achieve that. So before you do that, you check how many flares that you want to cut, assuming that you are giving all those peplum that comes in a clone way. That's what I'm referring to. So what do? Maybe you want to combine like 360 plus 360, that's 720. You want to make it 720. If you're making it 720, what it means that you're going to cut double flare. If you're adding another 360, it means you're cutting your flare into 3 places. If you're making it 4, it means you're cutting your 360 degrees flare into 4 places. So we're going to briefly do that calculation now. So assuming we are still using the 36, but we want to achieve this using something like 3 flares to achieve it. What do we do? What it means is that we even though we are combining, we still want to have that thing. We still want to have 36 at the end of the day. We don't want to plate it, because if you don't take precaution, by the time you cut 36 into 3 places, what it means is that you're going to fold, and after folding it doesn't give you the same effect as it's supposed to give you, right? So what you're going to do is to divide 36 by the number of flare you want to use. Like in this case now, we want to use 3 is equals to 12. So now we are still going to use what is it called, our 360 degrees to cut this this 12. What it means is that our radius is going to be c over 2 pi. Then in this case now, our c is 12, right? Because we have reduced it, we want to cut this 36 into 3 places, but we want a fuller flare, because we are trying to achieve a certain pattern. And because we are trying to achieve a certain pattern, we don't want to plait it at the edge. The only time you can cut, if you want the flare to be full and you are cutting this 36 into 3 places, is when you want to pleat this the radius side. You want to place the waistline or anywhere you're attaching the flare. But if you're not interested in plating it, please, you first divide by the number of flare that you want to cut. Then after dividing, then you now come back and calculate the radius that you want to use. Now, for this case now, we are using 12, and we're going to cut this 12 into 3 places. And when we cut this 12 into 3 places, we will end up getting our 36 back. But I also want to add that since we are going to be joining the flare after cutting, instead of using 12, we are going to use 13. Okay, so our radius is going to be 13 divided by 2. Our pi, remember that our pi is 3.14, right? Okay, so this is how you calculate it, which is the same thing as 13 into 6.14, so 28, sorry. Going to be having 2.1, right? So by the time we finish dividing this, and we are going to use our radius. Remember, when I'm talking about radius, that means we are going to fold after folding, right? After folding, what you will measure around here is 2.1, 2.1, 2.1, and you're going to cut it out. You're going to cut it out. Then after cutting it out, remember, because you divided into 3, you are going to cut out into 3 places, right? You cut it out into 3 places. After cutting it out, you join it. After joining, you see how it forms. It spreads, but at the same time, the waistline is not going to be too bulky. It's not going to be too big. You're not going to pleat anything on the waistline. Do you understand now? If you want it to be moderately big but not too much, you can use 2 flares and combine and get your 36 back. You want it fuller, 3. You want it to be everywhere, you can even multiply it by 4, right? But everything is dependent on the style you are making and who you are making the style for, okay? So these are the basic measurement, basic things that you have to know whenever you are cutting your flare and how to do them. Remember that you can copy out this what's it called, this format that I gave, and just insert your numbers and use it to do your calculation, okay? All right, thank you for watching, and see you in our next video.